Hello everyone, my name is Xu Xinyi from Group 16. Our presentation title is Etymology and Development of English Lexis. Here are our group members. This is our table of content. First, we will begin with a brief introduction to explain our topic. Next, in part A, we will analyze the etymology and development of 4 English words: coffee, milk, school, robot. Then in part B, we will discuss the importance of generation slang. Finally, we will end the presentation with a conclusion. Now, I will move on to my part. As we all know, English vocabulary is not immutable, but constantly developing with social and cultural changes. In our presentation, we will analyze 4 English words to show how English vocabulary has developed over time. Next one, the word I will focus on is coffee. The word coffee has an interesting history. It originally comes from Arabic word kahwa. Later it entered Turkish as kahve and then Italian as gafen. Through trade and cultural contact, the word entered the English language in the 16th to 17th century. Originally, coffee referred mainly to a stimulating drink. However, over time, the meaning of the word expanded. In nowadays, coffee can refer not only to the drink itself, but also to a social activity, such as I want to go in for coffee, and even a place like a coffee shop. I will explain the denotation and connotation of the word coffee. The denoted meaning of coffee is a beverage made from roasted coffee beans. This is the literary and basic meaning of the word. However, coffee also carries many connotations. It's often associated with energy and staying awake, especially among students and workers. It can also suggest relaxation. For example, enjoying coffee in the morning. In addition, coffee is strongly linked to social interaction, such as I often meeting friends at a cafe. For example, when I say I need coffee, it usually means I need energy. I'm so tired, not just the drink itself. So the word coffee is a good example of how English vocabulary develops through language contact and daily use. Its meaning has expanded over time, and it now carries both literature meaning and rich connotations. Thank you.
My name is Huang Ying. Hi everyone, the word I have chosen to analyze is a staple in our lives: milk. Let's start with the birth of the word. Milk is a very ancient word. It comes from Old English mealk, M-E-O-L-C. But if we trace it back even further to its deepest ancestor, the Proto-Indo-European root, it comes from the root sounds milk. This root literally means to rub off or to stroke. I find this really interesting because the word itself actually describes the physical actions of milking a cow. That hand motions of pulling and stroking. So the word was born from the action itself. Over centuries, the form changed. It evolved from the complex Old English spelling, M-E-O-L-C, to the Middle English, M-Y-L-K, and finally settled into the simple four-letter words that we use today. The meanings has also evolved. Originally, it only referred to the liquid from mammals, but surprisingly, using the word milk for plant juices isn't just a modern trend. Historical tests show that terms like almond milk were actually used as far back as 1200 AD. We also involved metaphorical meanings, but the 1500s people started using the verb to milk to mean exploitation, like milking someone for money. We also have idioms like crying over spilled milk, or Shakespeare's famous phrase, the milk of human kindness. The word grew from a simple liquid to a symbol of emotion and value. Now let's look at how this was spread to other languages. Milk is an old Germanic word. It has many cousins in in Europe. For example, the German word milk and the Deutsch word milk. This word wasn't borrowed from English. They just share the same grandfather. However, English has successfully exported this word as a loan word to other cultures. A great example is Japan. While Japanese has its own traditional word for milk, but they borrowed the English word as miracle. Interestingly, miracle is often used in specific Western contexts, like milk for your coffee or in baking, disguising it from their traditional term. We also see English compound words traveling globally. For instance, the word milkshake is used almost unchanged in languages like French and Spanish. To conclude, milk studies as a word describing a simple hand motion, but it has developed into a global term that carries both literal and metaphorical weight.
In this slide, I will explain the meaning and origin of the word school. The English word school comes from the ancient Greek word skole. What makes this word interesting is that it did not originally mean a place where students go to study, like how we understand school today. Instead, skole referred to leisure, free time, or even rest. In ancient Greek society, leisure time was considered important and meaningful. People believed that free time should be used wisely, not just for relaxation, but also for thinking, discussing ideas, and reflecting on life. During this leisure time, individuals often engage in philosophical discussion, learning, and intellectual exploration. Because learning and deep thinking commonly happen during leisure, the word skole slowly became associated with intellectual activities. Over time, this association grew stronger, and the meaning of the word began to shift away from rest and free time towards learning itself. This shows us that the idea of education originally came from curiosity and reflection rather than from strict rules or formal institutions. This slide explains how the meaning of the word school evolved over time. As societies develop, learning gradually become more organized and structured. Because of this change, the meaning of school also shifted. It moved from referring to free time to describing activities carried out during leisure. especially learning, teaching, and intellectual pursuits. The word then passed from Greek into Latin as schola. In Latin, the meaning became more clearly connected to education and places of learning. Later, it entered Old English as skol or skol, reflecting further changes in pronunciation and spelling. Eventually, the word developed into school in modern English, which we now use to describe a formal institution for education. This evolution reflects a larger social change. Learning was no longer something done casually during free time, but became a structured system with teachers, students, and institutions. The word school
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good greetings to Doctor. My name is Muhammad Ali Zudi bin Jahid, and I will be presenting about the English word robot. First of all, I will be presenting about the origin and birth of the word robot. The English word robot was first coined in 1920 by a Czech writer, Karel Čapek. It appeared in his play RUR, which means Rossum's Universal Robots. The term robot comes from a Czech word robota. It means forced labor or servitude. At that time, robots were imagined as an artificial worker created to serve humans rather than the machines that we think of today. This original meaning reflects the social concern of the 20th century, especially issues related to industrial labor, exploitation, and loss of human freedom. For the next slide, I will be talking about development of meaning and modern use of the word robot. Over time, the meaning of robot evolved significantly. Originally, robots were portrayed as human-like beings created for labor. However, as technology advanced, the word shifted to refer to mechanical and electronic machines. Notationally, or the literal dictionary meaning of the word robot, now refer to a machine that performs tasks automatically. And as for the connotationally, the word often suggests efficiency and obedience, but it can also carry negative associations such as being emotionless or even fears surrounding AI replacing human roles. Today, the word robot used internationally across many languages without translation, highlighting its global importance in technology, science, and even popular culture. And that's all from me. Thank you for listening. Now I pass it to my next groupmate. Thank you.
So, why is slang important? Slang is a living part of language that signals belonging and shapes social bonds. When people share the same informal vocabulary, they create a sense of solidarity and identity that helps them communicate quickly and signal membership in the group. Simple conversational examples like saying, "The concert was lit," or "I'm beat," instead of "I'm tired." That just show how slang compresses meaning and marks in-group familiarity. Next, slang offers a fast route into a culture's current concerns, trends, and values. It often emerges from music, media, and youth culture, and can reflect political and social movements. Short text or particles in speech can signal place. In England, British informal texts such as "innit" or Cockney rhyming slang carry local humor and historical class markers. This goes to show how regional identity and social history are embedded in casual speech. Teaching these highlights how language preserves local identity. And finally, slang is a playground for linguistic creativity. So much so that the speakers invent metaphors, repurpose words, and condense complex social behaviors into single verbs. For example, the word ghosted was first coined to mean abruptly cutting off context. This adds personality and emotional nuance to everyday speech, and slang terms can spread rapidly through social media and pop culture. We have come to the conclusion that the evolution of English Lexis is a testament to the language's adaptability and cultural richness. Over centuries, English has absorbed influences from countless languages and communities, resulting in a diverse and dynamic vocabulary. Within this broader development, slang plays a vital role, not as a linguistic noise, but as a creative force that reflects identity, culture, and expression. Understanding its role helps us appreciate languages not just as a system of rules, but as a reflection of who we are and how we connect. Thank you for listening to the presentation and have a good day.